This is David Frum writing in America's worst magazine, The Atlantic.
Dog shit.
The magazine run by the porcine prison guard, Jeffrey Goldberg. Bernie can't win. Subhead. But unless other Democrats take a page from his book, stressing the practical over the theoretical, the universal over the particular, they won't prevail either. Left, but not woke, is the Bernie Sanders brand. If anyone failed to recognize it
Honestly,
before,
yes.
If anybody failed to recognize it before, nobody can miss it now. Last week, the mega podcaster Joe Rogan endorsed Sanders. The Sanders campaign tweeted a video of the Rogan endorsement from Sanders' own account. The tweet then triggered an avalanche of disapproval from other voices in the Democratic coalition. Rogan is not an ally to the cultural causes that have come to predominate on the contemporary left. He even mocks many of those causes while also dancing around conspiratorial thinking of the left and right fringes, 9/11 denialism, Obama birtherism, and speculation about dark deeds concerning Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy man over here.
But again, you are describing a normal person.
Right.
You're describing a normal person who, like, I remember once when I don't remember when we were on tour somewhere, but I had in earbuds and we were waiting for a train, and I was laughing so hard, I was like crying because Joe Rogan was trying to explain the concept of bees. And it was so, because, just a benevolent man with a genuine curiosity about the world, trying so hard. I think he was like trying to explain the decline in the bee population, but he couldn't get there because he had to first explain the concept of a bee and pollination and what bees do.
Did Joe Rogan touch on the fact, or like, did he have like a DMT mind-blowing moment, bringing up the fact that according to all laws of aerodynamics, we don't understand how bees are able to fly?
Doesn't make sense.
How do they do that? That's my Joe Rogan voice. But you know the tone. Like, how do they? It's like amazing.
What he is he is one of those guys who gives politics the rational, proper amount of attention it deserves from a regular person, which is basically zero.
Yeah.
Like, they don't think about politics, so they're literally open-minded, which is impossible to imagine if you spend all day doing mind combat on Twitter, where you assume all people have like this fully hardened intellectual and ideological identity that is like fused to them, as opposed to people just kind of don't think about things and then like make their opinion of them as they're saying it and then never think about it again.
And then this nice, humble man who starts out every interview with like, look, I'm dumb and don't know what's going on. Like, he literally says that. And it's like, well, you understand, like, his entire appeal is a bunch of guys who respect that modesty because they are themselves are, they're not as cool enough to be able to admit that they're dumb.
He is the moderate voter.
Absolutely,
that's your moderate fucking voter.
And it's like,
Joe
if
Rogan.
he does stuff that's racist and sexist and bad, that's because that's the ambient thing. You say that all the time, that America is sexist and racist and patriarchal and all that stuff. Why wouldn't regular people have that as some sort of background radiation of their thinking?
I think the thing with like Rogan is like, Matt, you've described him before as like he has the literal definition of an open mind. It's like you said his mind is like a lint roller and that it just picks up whatever it rolls over.
Absolutely.
But like the thing is, like, I think Rogan is like a synthesis of like jock and pothead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And like that describes a lot of people. And like the article goes on to talk.
A lot of young men these days.
Yeah, the article talks about like how popular he is among young men, right? Like Frum writes here, as the Atlantic reported in a memorable appreciation of Rogan back in August, Rogan is a voice for men. But here's the thing is like, I think that these are people who we're not completely nerds, so they don't have like politics in the same way, you freaks do, or
yes,
I
everyone
do.
listening to this. Literally
Exactly.
everyone listening to this.
But what they have is a sort of a vague sense of being against authority of any kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they are open to ideas that fall to the left and right of the conventional wisdom
because
spectrum.
They're given credence by them because they're outside the norm.
And that is why...
That's what they're attracted to.
Which also, I think, separates them from guys who might otherwise go like alt-right or whatever, because they're just outsider enough to not be particularly malicious to difference.
Right.
They're just like, so that's your thing?
They don't
with the
hold
genders?
deep beliefs like that. Yeah.
So it goes on to quote from an Atlantic piece about Joe Rogan. And then Frum continues here. Former Vice President Joe Biden replied to Sanders' Rogan tweet with a pointed tweet of his own. The tweet was, "Let's be clear. Transgender equality is the civil rights issue of our time. There is no room for compromise when it comes to basic human rights."
Yeah,
Okay,
Joe
first of all-
Biden said that.
First of all, I would like to say that, like, I was talking about this earlier, and I'm like, you know what? Joe Biden is probably not transphobic. He's probably like, oh, that's the thing you're doing? Huh. Like,
is the
he's
man.
so confused and gone at this point that he does not care.
They asked him how many genders are there, and he said at least 3.
That is
One of the
adorable.
funniest answers
That
a
is
politician has ever given to a
adorable.
question. You want to kiss him on the head like Hans Moleman after he says
Yeah,
something
he's-
like that.
he's-
Bless you for trying.
He's trying, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I
But
agree.
also, the civil rights, like, battle of our time is a little bit of a weird phrasing because it implies that we're done with all the
Exactly,
other
yeah,
civil
it's like,
rights stuff.
We're
which
still got a lot of
we're
catching up
not.
to do.
I don't think it's malicious, but like the idea that they would have you believe that Joe Biden is just all of a sudden being
Yeah.
like,
Oh
yeah,
no, it was
this is my-
clearly opportunistic from his campaign. 100%.
And
Of
again,
course.
throughout this whole Rogan controversy,
He does not know that tweet was made.
And I'm using controversy here,
Yeah, nobody
very
actually gives a
generously
shit.
because
Yeah.
this is so
People-
not
it's
a
so funny.
thing.
You see
Yeah,
people online
300
just
people
hyperventilating.
online who are completely fine with, say, that spend all of their time, using Harry Potter metaphors, who have no fucking problem with J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Like, all of the sudden, like, this is their cause celeb.
And also, why are you going to hit him? Like, again, it's not like Bernie went on Rogan and co-signed everything Rogan had ever said.
Well,
like,
he does, but no, he did. You have to believe that for these people, him going on that show is an endorsement of everything he's ever said.
No, I think there are two types.
Well, some
I
types
think most
believe that.
people are cynical
Yeah,
and
well,
are
yes,
saying
but I believe
that.
the people who
but there's a few
are just posters and feel like they need to keep
there's a
doing
few nut jobs who are like, this is what it's like. You're not allowed to talk to people that don't share your exact
it.
everything.
Yes, that's a real strain.
But the larger category, though, I think is the cynical, or maybe the more influential category is the more cynical.
well, yeah,
one.
because that's the people with jobs who are
Yeah.
based on this shit.
It's
Right.
the Biden people, not the
Yeah.
whatever Maoists.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
it's
if you don't have your paycheck on the line, I think you're more likely to really believe that contagion theory of politics. But yeah, if you have anybody, if your job depends on any of this shit, it's all cynical.
Right. And it's the Warren people who
Yeah.
maybe do or don't realize that it's over for her.
Yeah, it's
She's not
done,
picked
honey.
up the requisite amount of black support to have any life past Nevada.
Nope.
Maybe they should be looking for another job soon. But who have been speaking this language of giving a platform to Rogan. Rogan has one of the biggest fucking platforms
Yeah.
in the country.
He is the
independent
platform.
of
Yeah.
Bernie.
Yeah.
But of course,
You go where the people are. You don't
It's-
fucking preach to the
They
choir.
think of it magically. It's like he's given him this magical potion that makes him now credible and mainstream. Not the fact that he is credible and mainstream by virtue of the size of his fucking show.
It's this liberal brain rot that says actually you don't preach to the sinners. You don't it's like this weird thing where it's like we have to just like make our ranks as small. It's like a weird kind of like Trotskyite overhold where it's just like, okay, well, we're forming a cadre, and it's like, you only get one vote, right?
Yeah.
Can you fucking count?
Yeah.
Learn to fucking count.
it's this weird form of like mutated Protestantism and Puritanism in American culture that just keeps rearing its ugly head. Where it's like it's not enough to like support a like as Bernie himself says many times, signing on no matter where you're from to enthusiastically endorse no matter where you come from the most left wing candidate that's run for president since Eugene Debs probably that is pitching a like multiracial, multi-generational working class coalition based around working class issues and the redistribution not of just of wealth but of political power
Yes.
to the working class in this country. It's just not just enough. You have to do that, but unless you are of totally pure heart and free from sin, not just sin like that you do in like the things you say, but free from sin in your heart.
Yes.
That and like that is the problem that they have with it because they think none of these policies will cure people will change what's inside people's hearts.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Which
and
is-
it's contagion theory too, because they're like,
Yes.
this is going to bring the filth into the Bernie movement. Not Bernie is actually changing people's ideas and minds.
Exactly. This is the thing that it's like they have a fundamental misapprehension of how this shit works. They view ideology, and political movements as a contagion, as a virus. You let one Joe Rogan listener, one unreconstructed Joe Rogan listener who maybe didn't go to college, hasn't learned the right words to use, hasn't gone through the literal like social conditioning to make you value those things like being not racist and being, trans positive as personality traits. You literally do learn that shit in college. And so if you let those guys in, they're going to spread. They're going to like bite people like vampires. And it's going to spread like that or like The Thing, But that's not how it works. Because they're a smaller group and because everyone else is already in this fucking coalition organized around a collective interest, which is, all the working class power we were talking about. That means that if they do have bad views on social stuff, they end up getting diluted. Their power gets on those issues gets diluted. Yeah. And all they end up contributing is their support to the fucking platform that's supported by everybody and helps everyone.
This was the thing I wrote about when I was talking to someone. They were trying to unionize some tech stuff, and someone asked well, what do I do if an alt-right guy wants to be in my union? And I'm like, if an alt-right guy wants to be in your union, you won.
Yes.
But going back a little, this never goes both ways.
No.
This is never it's never that Warren or Biden is giving a platform to CNN, which has never seen a fucking war they don't like.
Right.
It's never that Warren gave a platform to Netanyahu. It's not that anyone gave a platform to AIPAC. You're only giving a platform. It's only in this fucking fake new liberal sort of faux Antifa language that has been conjured since 2017 when it's something that directly benefits one candidate.
Yes.
And it just so happens that that's the one candidate that's actually on the left.
Yeah.
And here's a perfect example of that, Felix. Fucking what's his name? Bakari Sellers being like, how dare you compare Joe Rogan to Colin Powell?
Yeah,
and
Joe Rogan's a way fucking better person.
And I'm like,
than
yeah,
Colin
I agree
Powell.
with you, dude. Oh wait, you meant that as a defense of Colin Powell.
Insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
No, I had somebody in my mentions explicitly say to me, well, it's like, yeah, okay, Colin Powell bad. That war in Iraq was pretty bad, but man, Rogan really is a piece of shit. Like, he just wanted me to admit that Rogan's bad. And I said, that's a disgusting worldview. If you
people keep equivocating.
on the same scale,
that means you think most people are a piece of shit.
Being problematic or killing 2 million people in the Middle East. And if you think those are on the same scale, you are a fucking sick pervert.
And here's the other idiotic thing about it. Even on a real politic level, it's fucking brainless. Like, Hillary Clinton actively courted and received Henry Kissinger's endorsement. Henry Kissinger is like a world historical Hitler level mass murderer. Hillary Clinton had no problem touting and giving a platform to that person. But here's why it's idiotic. It garnered her probably zero
Nothing.
votes.
Nobody liked it.
No one who wasn't already on board voted for. Like, who was waiting for the fucking Kissinger endorsement who wasn't already on board?
Yeah.
Even if Joe Rogan were like the absolute furthest caricature of him as like the most evil person with a large media platform in this country that you could imagine, he would still a candle in the sun compared to Colin Powell, who, by the way, Iraq war aside, started out his career covering up the My Lai massacre.
A company man to the bitter fucking end.
Yeah. In between that, probably helped oversee the fucking highway of death. Yeah. A career of fucking bloodshed.
Yeah, but the thing is I really think the reason that resonates like this and the reason that they do treat differently, part of it's cynical, but there's also that ideological undercurrent, like the real heavy like ideology shit that undergirds their whole worldview, which is Joe Rogan broke the rules. He's not part of the club. Like, they really do have that ingrained meritocracy where like institutions like Colin Powell or CNN or anything, these things are exempt from these things because they should be there. They're part of the institutions. They're part of the elite. And Joe Rogan is not controlled outside.
And here's what puts the lie to all of this, and why
he didn't take a job. He didn't fill out a job application. He didn't go to college.
Why I truly must part ways with people who are kvetching over this, or like saying, "Oh, you can take this endorsement, but don't tout it," or whatever. Joe Rogan's audience is like 11, 12, 13 million people.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a pretty popular podcast, but that is a fucking drop in the
Joe
bucket.
Rogan doesn't vote, which means Bernie Sanders is reaching non-voters.
Yes.
This is insanely important.
More people listened to the Bernie episode of the Joe Rogan podcast than have watched every single Democratic debate combined.
Yeah.
It's 11.
And the people that have watched like Bernie on Rogan are more likely to be a pool of people he could appeal to than the sort of freaks like us that watch fucking Democratic debate.
And you know what? The Rogan endorsement, the way he said it, actually proves this entire. It proves why Bernie is the only one who can win. Honestly, because he wasn't touting any issues that Bernie supports when he said he supported Bernie. He said Bernie's been consistent. Bernie's been consistent for 30 years. He's said the same thing this whole time, and I got to credit somebody who's that consistent. Now, of course, for establishment liberals, that's horrifying. John Che wrote an article saying, or he wrote a tweet saying, actually, he did write an article. Actually, it's actually an insult to someone to say they haven't changed in 30 years because, of course, as a meritocratic liberal elite, the idea of that being nuanced.
Yeah.
The idea of, always being willing to admit I was wrong. That's a value. But what that reads like to regular people is being a fucking snake.
Yes.
And being someone I can't trust.
Being oily.
Yes, because
sliding around.
they don't
That's
have-
actually a virtue. Being a sponge that fits in any space.
Exactly. And they don't trust it. And the thing is, the reason that's a rubric to care about is because they don't have the ideological commitment to like pick it otherwise. They can't sort by
No
what they
spines.
like because they don't really know what they want. But they know one guy isn't full of shit.
They're not
so
even-
vote for the one who isn't full of shit.
They're not even snakes. Snakes
Yeah.
have spines.
Exactly.
And if we are indeed walking the golden path, and this goes the way that we hope it does, we will look back on this, and the Rogan endorsement will be as important, if not more, than Ocasio-Cortez's endorsement.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It'll be certainly
Yep.
on the same level of how an
Absolutely.
endorsement that actually really mattered.
AOC,
She brought in a few people who might otherwise have gone to Warren. Rogan
Yes.
is going to bring in people that weren't going to vote for anybody,
Correct. Or
and
maybe
a
voted for
lot
Trump.
more of them. A lot more of them.
Yes, absolutely.